Hi, lovely lady. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I've got a cat that keeps jumping up onto my lap.
As is tradition.
Look, I get it. You want to like play and such, but no. Okay, so um welcome everybody to the Runecraft Devlog for October 27th, 2020 with your hosts, Rivkin, and that's your cue.
Love Letty, hello.
Ah, man, we do this every time.
It's it's an ongoing challenge.
That's fair. Um, so uh, I got asked a question yesterday about what is a devlog. Do you want to give that insight?
Um, sure. So the a devlog, just in general, is um, I guess definitionally, a vlog is a video log, and a devlog is just kind of a combination of the two words. It's a development video log or voice log, or it's just a way for us to kind of, instead of typing up a really long wall of text and saying here's what's going on, you can just listen to us ramble instead. It's We're in the 21st century. We now have ways to, instead of just scribble down on a paper and then print off a million copies and send it to everyone of what's going on, it's a way for us to have kind of a benchmark and a good focal point of, this is where we are, this is what we're doing, this is what we're working on. They can be parts of, like we're doing now, just a quick recap and Q&A and a progress report on where the project's at. They can be, say, individually. Say tomorrow you start recording and all you're recording is you typing of the code. Then that could constitute as your devlog, as you're talking over it saying, okay, and right now I'm working on this rune and I've added this function to it and then I'm doing this. And then it's 6 hours of, just watching you type, which isn't as entertaining, but it's a way to, like I said, keep tabs on the project and give an interface from us to the people who use the project.
You know what would be entertaining though? Uh, Going ahead and utilizing a webcam so that way they can see your rage and freakouts, but do it in a time lapse format.
It would be mostly it, well, the problem with that is it would be basically one face the entire time. I would just kind of be moving a little bit as I'm doing it, and then in that time lapse, you'd see stuff all over the room as it's been thrown, or it would just happen to appear there.
Room camera.
There you go.
There we go. So, but no, yeah, that's basically what a devlog is, and just trying to ensure that uh, you guys know and understand as to what's going on. And we apologize, we really, really do, for the lack of um, updates and all that sort of stuff. We've been kind of a bit busy um, overall. Um, Love lady, you I know has been extremely busy with you getting promoted and everything, and yeah,
Yeah, it's been real
something.
life is a disease at this point, I would say. It's kind of
Sometimes, yeah.
taken me by storm, and I know you as well with the move and everything else that's going on in life. It's just kind of like a flash flood, basically, that hit both of us at the most inopportune time, and we're still just kind of now trying to keep our heads above water as it drains slowly around us.
Please don't say that. Don't give 2020 more ideas. We don't need a flood.
We already have flooding at the start of the year.
Right, but a great flood?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, please don't.
Good.
So so let's get on with this, shall we?
Absolutely.
Cracking my knuckles here. Okay. First question. When is the Runecraft 4.0 release? So
I think that
I
about sums up that answer. Yeah. All right. Next question.
no, so I know when I'd like to have this done. When a good goal would be, and that would be early late spring or late winter, early spring, or late spring, early summer. I'd like to get it before 1.17 pops out, and that's gonna be like midsummer.
Of course it is. So, my 2 cents on this, and we have a talking point later on that I'd like to focus on that makes this question kind of difficult to answer. You have your intended time to release it. I have mine, which was about 2 years ago, and here we are.
Listen, mine was about 2-3 years ago. We've been working on this since what? I think we started on this branch about 2015.
The initial push to the
I think
designated 4.0 was, I believe, the beginning of 2017.
Was it?
We started working on some things that we wanted to be like what we're doing in 4.0, but the initial, like, this is designated to be the 4.0 branch and development function was 17. 15, like I said, we had a lot of the things that we've now pushed into 4.0, we started to work on, but the absolute designation was 17. So we're only 3 years in at this point.
Now I want to double check this because, like, my brain's saying one thing and you're saying the other, and I'm like, hold on. Yeah, no, 2017, August 3rd, 2017.
Okay, so it was the end of the year. It wasn't even the first of the year.
It was mid-year.
Well, I mean, it was almost fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well, business fourth quarter is like December, January, February, and March. But anyway,
well, we're not business.
We
casual.
are a company, sir. No, I can't do that.
EtherCorp functions on the hard, determined efforts of the souls we've sacrificed.
Of which, because it's just you and I on this team, it's just our souls.
We need to start sacrificing interns.
We have interns?
Well, they're in the back room. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, no, I agree. Having this released about 2 years ago would have been nice, but
and like I said, we do have the talking point later on, which will kind of tie back into this. So
okay.
hold on.
So
to
we'll
that
move
thought,
on from this one.
Yeah.
Next question. Any runes you'd like to see changed? That's a good question overall, and I think my favorite rune that I'm excited to see change will probably be, especially with the cave update coming, I'm especially happy to see that Death Note is changing. I think that rune itself will be a lot nicer to use.
Oh, absolutely.
So how about you? What rune would you like to see changed?
I haven't really even thought about this one. I think Pegasus, the intended change that we have on that one, with the additional dimension of mobility, I think I'm really looking forward to that one because that's going to kind of change up how the entire rune functions. Especially that you can still accomplish mostly the same thing now, but to take the extra steps out of it basically and just move where you want it moved, especially with potentially the cross server one that we had discussed before with Bungie and other tie-ins. I think that would be a pretty neat little addition to it. Did you disconnect? You did.
So, next one. Any runes that you'd like to see added?
I'll let you go first while I think about this.
Bro, don't do that to me because I was just about to be like, did I disconnect again?
Sorry. That's why I said it.
I'm like waiting for you to say something, and then it's just like dead silent, and I'm like, I disconnected again, and I'm going to throw my internet out the window.
Nope, you didn't.
Okay. So, runes that I'd like to see added. I think that one weapon rune, the that I proposed to you a long time ago. I'm kind of excited to bring in. Let's see here. What was it called?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Some like Maku Ahiotl. The Mesoamerican. It's traditionally a wooden club with several embedded obsidian blades in it, which we're going to be utilizing as a sword rune that will increase your sword damage.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm excited to see that one come into fruition because people have been asking for a while now for extra sword runes and weapon runes in their entirety. So I'm kind of excited to see that one pop up.
Oh, absolutely. And it'll play really well into, and I believe we've discussed it on a devlog before, the rune series and like classifications that we're trying to push out. I think it'll fit really well in all of that combat stuff.
Yeah. Not to mention with Jeb, I think it's Jeb. He's pushing and doing a lot of combat testing log stuff. So combat's got to be changing here in like pretty soon. I think they said like after 1.17, they're going to be looking into doing a secondary combat update. So I'm kind of excited to see how that's going to work out. And I'm excited to have some of our weapon runes augment that.
Oh, absolutely.
So what about you? What rune would you like to see added?
I don't know. I think I went a different route on this one. It's not really any that we have planned. I just want more runes like my chest. Just little gags, kind of shenanigans, things that aren't griefing per se, but they're enough to get under your skin, and you just kind of have to roll your eyes and say, they got me. I didn't expect that one.
Maybe we'll do the dirt explosion chest.
That would be kind of fun too.
Rune idea. Uh, no, I'm excited to see that sort of stuff too. More fun runes than, you know, something that destroys the world or, etc.
Right, right.
I think I can agree, and I'm excited.
I think it'll be fun. It adds a certain element that, yes, a lot of the runes are functional and very usable tools and utilities, but at the same time, you gotta enjoy life somehow.
Agreed. So, next question. Curtis73 asks, how configurable will 4.0 be?
I think good answer on this one is yes. Next question.
Pretty
Um,
much.
it'll be as configurable as we can reasonably make it. And I know that's kind of a blanket term, and that's kind of a, you're not really telling me anything there. Absolutely. And the reason that I say that is we want configuration in runes. So, like,
I, I think basically speaking, other than radii, patterns, and for some items, uh, like the new levitation obelisk for those, the potion amplifier for that. I think other than those, you're looking at it like every other facet of Runecraft 4.0 will be available for being changed.
right, right. Your energy costs, your tier system, still have to kind of work on part of that, make sure that it works correctly. Um, the runes are configurable, like I said, to a certain degree. And I was drawing a blank on which rune I was thinking of, but it was Flotilla. The amount of time between spawning boats, the cost for spawning the boat, I think we have set up as just what the cost of the boat is.
No,
Is
flotilla
it its
costs
own?
nothing.
Oh, that's
Flotilla
right, it
costs
is.
no energy because we actually spawn the boat, and you can't spawn another boat until that one disappears, and you can actually change how long that time is.
Right,
So
right.
so that way, servers like Curtis's server, who deals a lot with boats, um, they won't have the issue of um, they won't have that issue anymore because a lot of people will tend to just leave their boat just sitting at a dock um, on his server, and they've had to do quite a few the boatenings. Um,
Right.
so, uh, yeah, no, Flotilla doesn't have an energy cost anymore.
That's right.
Um, but you'll be able to configure the amount of time that it takes for you to spawn a boat and have the boat disappear, etc.
Right. So that's just one example. The other runes are, as long as there is something that can reasonably be configured, we're trying to put it in so that it's a configurable thing.
And not to mention that for those of you out there who are much more code savvy, we are instituting a thing where you can the API. You'll be able to create your own runes. You can't use the same patterns as us necessarily, but you can get close to them relatively, um, allowing for you to create some runes that are up to your standards or whatever you need. Still there, level?
Yeah, I just don't
Okay.
have any further thoughts. Sorry.
No, you're good. Um, so next up is Tyler, who asks, will there be or is there an in-game guide on how to build and use the runes, as well as an explanation of what they do, or will there just be a wiki? Um, we've mentioned this before. We do want to do an in-game guide or an in-game system of teaching you what the runes are, and you can reference it more in game. Um, books are books are impossible for us to do realistically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least with including the rune itself.
Right.
Um, m- Simply because we're limited to the vanilla book. Um, and we can only do what the vanilla book allows us to do.
Now, with that said, there will be an overhaul to the wiki to provide as much information on the rune as possible. Um, we have plans for an in-game, not necessarily a guide, but a reference location that demonstrates, or not necessarily demonstrates, but shows what the rune looks like, the materials that are in it, um, probably a brief description of what it does and what we anticipate good uses are. That doesn't mean that that's all the uses. People come up with some crazy and wild things all the time, which is amazing. But the intended, what it was created for initially, just as a like a museum of look at this rune, and now if you step over here, you can look at this rune. And on your left, down the hallway, you'll find the restroom on the right, but then you'll also find this rune on the left.
Yeah. And that was and I mentioned this in my devlog I think like a week ago. Um, is that's Aetherhold, and it's going to be a separate dimension that will. It's going to be a void dimension, so it's not going to take up any resources realistically. Um, no monsters or anything will be able to spawn there, and you'll be able to go in, see the runes and such, see runes, see, um, and we can actually utilize lecterns and books, um, hopefully, potentially, to allow us to place the lectern in front of the rune that we're going to be talking about, and that book will have a brief explanation of what that rune does.
Right.
So,
So there will
yes,
be an in-game
basically.
guide. It may not be exactly what you're expecting. It's kind of hard. Like Rivkin brought up, there's only so much we can do with vanilla Minecraft, and we're trying to find little ways around it and provide as much information as possible. But there always will be the wiki as a fallback. There will be the in-game as best as we can provide. We may even do the book that is just the rune title, what it does, what, any other information that we can provide outside of how to build it, with a little thing at the end that says if you have any further questions, consult the wiki or visit the Etherhold, and just give that to all players on join. I mean, there's a few different ways that we can do this. It's just still something that's kind of in the works as we're building up to that point. We're trying to create the plugin first and then give all of the documentation and guidance on it, because if we try doing the guidance and documentation now, we're always doubling back and redoing our own work.
Correct, because we're changing up a lot of the runes. Like Flotilla, as we mentioned, instead of there being an energy cost, it's going to simply give you a time limit of how long the boat's going to be there before that boat disappears and such. So the answer overall is yes, there will be a guide on how to build and use the runes, though it's not going to be what you expect.
Right, right.
Okay, so Lane says, "Oh, at Rivkin, are you going to add the ability to change the energy value of items and blocks?" Yes. Okay, next question.
That was easy.
Right? No, as we mentioned in with Curtis's, um, we're going to make the plugin uh, as configurable as possible. Like literally as much as we can, we're going to do it. Um, Making it so that way you guys can change based on your server the energy value and tiers, subsequently tiers of items and blocks, because I know some servers have uh, energy values or have like emeralds and such as part of their system. Um, so like their currency, gold is a currency of another server and such. Um, and as such, when you do certain things, you'll gain that item, and some people can just toss that item into fire and you suddenly have, a million energy even though you just started the server. Uh, so yes, we're going to be changing the ability. We're going to be allowing you to have the ability to change energy values of items and blocks. Anything you want to put in there?
No, that hit just about all of it. There will be some regulations and restrictions. Obviously, you can't make cobblestone a tier 497. There will be like an upper bound on tiers. This will all be explained in documentation, and we'll have safeguards in the system so that if you try to do that, we'll shake a little finger at you saying, "Now you knew better," and then we'll fix it for you.
Yeah.
But the overall is we're still gonna basically have you conform to a general structure, but you have free reign within that. Basically, we've put up a fence, patted you on the back, says get out there and have fun. As soon as you try to climb over the fence, it's one of us standing there shaking our finger, and we kind of point you back where you're supposed to be, just because this helps it conform to what we expect Runecraft to be. Now, with that said,
Yeah.
this is kind of a little sneak of something we will talk about, something going on. We have discussed the possibility of maybe returning to the uses system. Not necessarily us, because what we plan is Runecraft by default, how we provide it, and that's the way we expect and anticipate you to use it. Now, we may provide functionality that if you decide to write your own handler to return to the uses system, that could be a possibility. It's maybe something we'll provide. It may be something we open source. It may be something that someone in the community provides. We don't really know where that's going right now, but there is a possibility and potential for that. It's the same kind of concept. We would prefer that Runecraft looks like this. We hand it to you on this plate. This is what we expect. Then you take it and you do what you want with it within reasonable bounds. There's certain things that, like I said, we're going to kind of gate in and keep you from outdoing, like the tier system. But that's only to maintain a certain level of uniformity between all Runecraft instances. You can change it and customize it, but at the core, we want it to still be Runecraft.
A voice, you could make cobblestone be like a million energy, but the highest that you'll be able to go for the tier is 7. Like that's not changing.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
so that's the perfect example. You can have the energy value be whatever you want, and even if you have it so that way the energy value um, propagates for the tier, um, you're never going to be able to go above 7. So
Right, right, right.
um, and one of the points that you just brought up was going back to the use system and everything. Um, I think one thing that we are discussing is how to give us a nice hybrid. And that's something that Level 80 and I will be having to discuss uh, here within some time, but there is going to be the idea of a hybrid energy slash uses system that will I think it'll be a lot more fun overall and add a lot more challenge to our plugin.
Right.
So we'll head on to the next thing, which is your points now. So you're going to be getting the floor here shortly, Mr. Level 80.
Just turn the lights down. It's really bright.
Oh, great. So you've got some individual devlogs coming up. What are they? Why you're doing them, and are we doing them?
So the reason I wrote this question or statement or point the way that I did is, in short, are we doing them? Yes, no. Ask me
Maybe.
again in 3 months. It's not gonna be, the way I'm planning it is it's not intended to be the new status quo norm. It'll be a weekly thing or a daily thing or whatever. There is no strict schedule. It's kind of like how our lives are. It's going to be kind of ebb and flow. We'll move to them when we get to them. What it basically is, and what I've been working on since I've returned to the project from the real life world, is I've been recording while I've been working. This includes showing off the runes that we're working on, the bugs that maybe we're encountering when we write something, or I typo something and now I spawn 50 cows instead of teleporting one off somewhere else. It's just a way to show.
Listen, that accelerator bug screwed us up a little bit, okay?
So that's what I'm hoping to capture, is more moments like that. I'm gonna have to, when I edit this, I'm gonna put a little clip of that in so that people know what we're talking about. Because otherwise, they're just scratching their heads. What do you mean accelerator bug? It's on screen now. And that was the whole cow snafu.
The cowpocalypse.
The cowpocalypse. That's right. It's like I explained in mine, and I anticipate releasing mine fairly soon. If it wasn't already up before this video was posted, then it should be coming soon. It's a way for us to just kind of talk. It's a way for us to interface. Like I initially brought up at the beginning of the devlog, it's a sole independent view. It's just me working on something. I may get mad. I may laugh at stuff that I've done. I may make jokes. I'm just trying to give some kind of transparency to what I'm doing. That way, it's not just this black wall of, hey, Loveletty's in there. What's that guy doing? And all you hear is muffled in the background, nothing. It's a good way to see what's happening. And I've talked to Rivkin about it. He wants to do the same thing so that we can both show our perspectives.
And it might not be just Runecraft. It could be like I'm working on a whole video game world. So you guys so there may be videos of me discussing my ideas for how the world will progress, discussing lore that may be in the game, as well as just in general. I know Level 80, you tend to do some video game aspects, video gaming itself, like playing games. So
Right.
We may bring those back in, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to try to not necessarily pursue a career in YouTube or whatever, but we do want to interface with the community a lot more and bring you guys a little bit more into our lives and what's going on with them and that sort of thing, and showing you guys what we do and what we see.
Right. And it's, like Riv said, it's not a career that we're trying to make because there's
Though
a
though
lot
it would
easier
be a
ways to do
nice
that.
career.
It would be. It would be. It really would. To just sit back, record videos, talk into a microphone, play video games. Those guys have it figured
Well,
out, man.
well, play video games. We're doing devlogs and everything, so we're like showing the process of making games maybe and that sort of thing. Like, I think it'd be good.
It would be. It would be awesome. It would be a good push to do. But currently it's a hobby, right? It's something
Yeah.
that we do outside of our careers, outside of our real lives. So, like I said, I can't give you guys the guarantee that it's going to be a weekly thing that we do. It's not. I would be lying if I said that it was. I cannot reasonably commit that amount of time currently, and who knows what the future holds. Maybe it's a weekly, it's a monthly, maybe it's, every 6 months we provide a quick update of the things that we've worked on throughout that 6 months. Because it takes time to record and edit and post and upload and all of that stuff.
Hey, maybe you'll get fired with how much you go ahead and, yell and curse at your boss.
It hasn't happened yet. Gotta keep trying.
But no, we want to bring our thoughts out there to you guys overall and kind of bring that up. So next point, because I've got about 5 minutes or so.
Okay. We'll hurry and zip through this one. I believe this is the last point anyway. Yeah.
This is the last point, yep.
So the big point here, and I'll let you guys read it. You don't have to listen to me read things out to you. If you want me to read audiobooks to you or read books, just let me know. I might do that as a side gig.
Okay, but like a level 80 audiobook series would be phenomenal.
Awful.
No, phenomenal.
It'd be awful.
We'll get you to read bedtime stories.
There we go. Okay, so what Rivkin and I have discussed is with 4.0 being so far out and so far in development already, this is kind of a necessary move. We want to get it out to you as soon as possible. And unfortunately, with this, the speed that the technology around us is evolving, the new Minecraft updates coming out, the time limits that we have to work on everything, the Forge builds coming out, Sponge, all of that stuff, we've made a very reluctant decision. I guess difficult, reluctant, however the best way to put it is, to entirely focus our efforts on Spigot and Bucket at this time. That way we can get that 4.0 build out to you as quickly as possible. Then, once we've reached the level of completeness, we come back and finish the other platforms as rapidly as possible.
Because here's the thing that me and Level 80 have kind of one of the things that's really, really nice about working with the system that we're working on is that once we know what every piece of the rune is going to need, which we can do with the Spigot and Bucket, we can go, okay, we need this rune doing this thing, this is the function, we're going to do it strictly for Bucket/Spigot and go, okay, here is this rune completed for that. That means that when it comes back to Forge and Sponge, we can go ahead and say, okay, these are the functions that we need. Let's fix these up in this section of the code and get that same result from Spigot and Bucket to Forge, to Sponge. Once we have the groundwork laid out, the Forge and Sponge build should be, barring the fact that, Sponge doesn't have the best documentation as of currently, those should still be a lot easier to wrap and package up for you guys.
Right. And as a contrast, what we're currently doing is for each milestone that we have broken down, we've tried to make sure that each platform is at a level of completeness before we move on to the next milestone. This is what's causing some really big delays with when we're actually able to work on things, is building it for all three, basically, and waiting on one of them to be updated, to have the necessary calls, to search through the documentation, to try to find it, to decompile, whatever we have to do to make that platform complete, when the bucket one has been done for months. This should give us, like I said, a quicker push to get to that point. Then we can double back. We're still 100% anticipating and working towards Forge and Sponge and possibly any of the others that come up. We're not saying that we're dropping that project by any means. We're just shifting focus a little bit so that we can get it out to you and then double back and then make the overall product faster and better, hopefully, than the way we're currently doing it.
Correct. And with that, I've got to get going. I got work to go to. On Tuesdays, I go into work early, so because
Gotcha.
they do a. Oh, there's my alarm. They do a elderly's morning kind of thing.
Right.
To make sure that the older generation has the items that they need. So,
Right.
I've unfortunately got to get going, but yeah, no, thank you guys for coming out. And me and Level 80 both we do thank you guys for your understanding of not like going, where the hell is this thing? You guys promised it years ago.
Yeah.
We're doing our best. We really are. Trying as best as we can to get things done.
Yes. And it's been a process, but we're getting there.
Yeah. But Level 80, it was good talking with you. We haven't done this in a year, it feels like.
Yeah. It's
probably close to, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
So it was good to hear from you. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
And all you guys out there, have a wonderful day and see ya.
Okay, take care. Have a good day.
Hello.
Welcome back.
There we go. That was super weird. Let's see. Go back to OBS. Okay. I'll have to probably set this up as 2 different videos, but hi, I'm back. My net died there for a moment. Cause I'm sitting here and I'm like, what's going on? Level 80, I asked you a question.
Yeah, so I'm explaining the whole thing, and then it's just silent, and I'm like, hey Riv, nudge nudge, you should probably say something else now if we're moving on. And it was dead silence. So literally, as I'm asking, I'm like, hey, did you disconnect? Yeah, you did. And I'm probably gonna leave that part in, just as a...
Oh yeah, definitely.
Did you disconnect? Uh-oh.
Okay, so yeah, yeah, no, I did not hear your explanation at all, so
it was
we'll move on.
Pegasus and the new
Pegasus
multi-movement stuff.
Okay, yep. I'm excited for that one too. That one's gonna be fun.